Joining us now, former Democratic presidential candidate and CNN political commentator Andrew Yang. He's on the phone with us. First, your reaction.
Well, Anna, this is a big announcement, but it's not a complete surprise, in part because it's the right decision. And Pete became a top-tier contender out of relative anonymity because he makes the right decision. Super Tuesday is just essentially hours away, and Pete was unlikely to post a win in any of the states. He didn't have a funding path forward, and so he looked at the path ahead and said that dropping out would be the best decision for the party, for his team, and for the country. And so I applaud this decision because I think Pete is doing it for all the right reasons. I think it's actually a tremendous boost for those who want to defeat Donald Trump in the fall.
But where do you see his supporters going?
You have to see the vast majority of his support going to Joe Biden. This is a major boost for Joe Biden going into Super Tuesday. Pete was polling in let's call it the 8 to 12% range, depending upon the state, and most of those votes are going to go straight to Joe. A few might go to Mayor Bloomberg, but this cannot be seen as anything other than a major boost for Joe Biden heading into Super Tuesday.
Now, we understand the two have exchanged voicemails today, although they haven't had a chance to actually connect. I know you haven't made an endorsement yet. Our understanding is the former mayor is not expected to make an endorsement tonight when he makes his announcement in the next hour. But, I mean, if he is concerned about Sanders' campaign, and our reporting is that that is largely what impacted his decision here, that he was unwilling to be one reason that Senator Bernie Sanders is able to get an insurmountable lead, according to our sources. Given there are other moderate candidates still in the race, Amy Klobuchar, for example, Michael Bloomberg, another example, would it be beneficial for him to make an endorsement before Super Tuesday?
Well, having been through this process, Anna, there are so many people that help you in your campaign, and you want to honor the conclusion of your campaign. It's almost like you can't really do both things at once and do them appropriately, in my experience. I mean, this is going to be very, very hard news for many, many people who've been supporting Pete for the last number of months. And I think it's entirely right for him to address them and focus on the campaign first, end its conclusion, and then turn his attention to the other candidates who are still in the race.
What do you see as his influence on this race going forward?
Well, certainly, Pete has garnered tremendous support around the country. I do think most of his support will naturally flow to Joe. But if Pete were to decide to endorse, of course, it'd be very meaningful. He raised tens of millions of dollars from Americans around the country, and I think that the people that supported him would be thrilled to see Pete campaign for someone else if Pete decided to do so.
Andrew Yang, I do want to ask you, because you were somebody who, has provided more diversity in this race, and now we have another person who brought that diversity into the race dropping out. We're left with three men. The youngest now is 77 years old. That is Joe Biden, and of course we also have a couple of women still in the race, Amy Klobuchar and Elizabeth Warren competing, but are you surprised this is where we are right now?
Unfortunately, Anna, I think we can all see where this race is trending. So I'm not sure I can say I'm surprised. I do think that for a variety of reasons, many people want to see the field consolidate as much as possible very quickly, essentially into Bernie and then one other non-Bernie candidate. So that dynamic is going to continue. To me, the major variable is Mike Bloomberg. What is his plan? There was some thought that he might even make a decision heading into Super Tuesday, even though the voting hasn't really started in terms of the states that Mike is competing in. That, to me, is the major, major variable in everything, because Mike's bankroll enables him to be competitive anywhere he wants to be. He hasn't been able to reach certain percentages in the polls, but he's competitive just about everywhere. So to me, that is the major decision ahead for the field, really what Mike's dashboard tells him is the right thing to do.
All right, Andrew Yang, really appreciate your insights. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Anna.